KCZW LP Conroe and 106 point right on.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Dr. Carlos Sanchez. Welcome to the Hispanic Chamber Connection radio show program for the Texas Gulf Coast Hispanic Chamber of Commerce members and their friends. Mainly members, though, because we have over 450 members now and growing. And all of our members have, as one of their benefits, this interview. And today, it's really interesting that today we have somebody who's coming back by popular demand. She has been, she was one of the first people to even become a guest of this show more than a year ago.
Yep, more than a year ago.
I'm talking about the one and only Traci Fowler. Traci is a real estate professional that works all over Houston. She's going to talk to us a lot about real estate. But Traci, thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you for having me again. It's my pleasure.
And you look very different than you did last time. Well, because last time you weren't wearing glasses. Today we use glasses now.
Yes, I've crossed that bridge. This is a daily thing now.
You know, I buy mines at, the dollar store. So I buy 10 for $20. I'm still in denial. But I think, I think I've reached the point, like when you're driving and you're not wearing your glasses and you get a text and you just have to read it. It's terrible because then you have to put on your glasses.
You do. I used to be able to just have one laying around, and if I felt like using it, it was a benefit, but I didn't have to use it. Now I carry 3 around because I always need to know I've got glasses.
So that's it? You've gone over the edge.
I've gone over the edge.
I wonder what anyway, that's a whole other seminar. But for us, though, just using glasses, at one point, I know early in my life, I used to want to use glasses. So I look more intelligent.
Right. I remember those days.
And so I got glasses, and they didn't have a lot of anything on them.
They just look cool.
Yes, and they look well. This was like the 90s, early 90s.
Right. So they were round, is what you're telling
They
us.
were just trying to be. I was just trying to look like REM or somebody cool.
Exactly.
Then I stopped using them, and all of a sudden, at the time, I went with my wife to an optometrist. Me having made fun of her, you've got to go check yourself out, blah blah blah. So they checked her out. And they checked me out, and it turns out I needed bifocals. I was that bad.
That was serious.
Well, but at the same, now thinking about it, they may or may not have been honest at that time. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But right now, I need more than bifocals. I need like a dog. I'm close to getting a dog.
Seeing eye dog in a stick.
Wow, and the worst thing is though, even dry eye. Do you know what that is?
Yes, I actually do. I have that also.
How do you know it? How do you know it's dry eye?
If you're always blurry. Yeah.
Well, I'm always blurry, but that's not.
Actually, you'd be surprised what the right eye drops can do.
Right. Well,
I feel like I'm an optometrist. I'm really not, though.
I have my eye drops in my bag here. Well, I have a bag in my man purse.
In your man purse.
But because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I know you have to. I guess. What do they say when you wet your eyes? You have to not dampen. There's another word. You have to keep your eyes moist.
Yes, you do. You need them tears, but not too many.
Whatever it is, I do it first thing in the morning, and I'm teardropping the whole morning, and then before you know it, they're clean. They're good.
There you go.
Anyway, all right. So this is Traci Fowler, ladies and gentlemen. She is versatile. She's eloquent. She's intelligent. She's successful, and she's going to give a great interview because I've talked to her many times before, and we just have so many interesting things to talk about, Traci.
We do.
And again, thanks again for being on the program.
Well, thank you.
So, but before we go into all the meaningful questions that we're going to ask Traci, let me tell you a few things about the Chamber of Commerce. The first thing is we just had a meeting earlier, a lunch, which I invited you, but I think I used the wrong media because I didn't get any response. And I got a response. I think I sent it to you through Messenger, but I got something through Facebook.
I sent you a text.
Anyway, you sent the text, right? So just crisscrossed. Bottom line is, up until today, every Tuesday we would meet at Spring Creek Barbecue here in the Woodlands. And got about 30, 40 people and, just networking. But it's all facilitated networking. So it's really not just an open, meat market style of networking where you just go in and try to yell your way into somebody's heart.
Yeah.
Here, what we do, we actually facilitate the whole meeting. So people sit in separate, tables of 6 or 7, and they pick a leader, and that leader runs the meeting at that table where everybody gets to know each other using 1-minute drills, right? So they talk about their business for 1 minute.
It's been very effective.
Oh, much more effective, and much more for them, much more meaningful.
Yep.
And we force it. I don't mind being a little bit obnoxious, so I will go to the table and say, "Okay, everybody, help Traci now. Help her now." So bottom line is we had that meeting today, but we're not going to have another meeting in the Woodlands until August.
Okay, I saw that.
So we're starting to do monthlies right now just because weekly meetings, I think at some point, because we're not a networking organization, we're a chamber of commerce.
Right.
So at some point, weekly meetings become like your habit, your routine.
Sure.
And unless you find something new within those meetings, they become boring very fast. You know what I mean? Like if you go there and you see the same people every time, and you're like a regular business person, which is your tendency is not to give referrals, it's to receive.
Sure.
Then those meetings get boring fast.
Sure. Sure.
And so I just don't want to fall into any kind of pattern that's BNI-ish or anything like that. I mean, not that I like BNI and all, but I don't like their pattern of having to be there every week.
Sure.
So anyway, so we're changing everything up. So today was the Woodlands. Tomorrow we're going to be in Katy, Cape Cod Cafe in Katy.
Wonderful. Okay.
And great. Have you been to Cape Cod Cafe?
I have not.
Great seafood. Great fresh lobster.
You had me at seafood. That sounds delicious.
The best lobster biscuit you've ever had.
Really?
It's
okay.
really good. And the chef, of course, comes to our meetings, and he's a traditional, if you can call it stereotypical, I don't know, but just Cape Cod, Massachusetts. He's got the attitude. He's got the
Does he have a little fish hook in his ball cap?
He could. Well, he could, but he doesn't wear ball caps. He just wears
okay.
those long shorts that are lower than your knees.
Okay.
And black tennis shoes. It's just funny. Anyway, the chef is the chef, but he cooks all the food, and so he's a 5-star chef.
Oh wow. Okay.
So he has a great restaurant. So that's tomorrow in Katy.
Okay.
On Thursday we're at Tamagaucha. Tamagaucha is on Westheimer.
Yes.
That's in the Galleria area.
Great food, great location.
Everything's
great
beautiful
service.
about Tamagaucha.
Yep.
Right now we're very happy with what's going on there, and I want to keep those meetings going, but it's the same thing. I mean, you saw it when our members show up and there's visitors. Our members, I think, get very excited about visitors, and all of us do. We want visitors at our meeting.
Oh, sure, right.
But we want to bring visitors too.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll bring visitors, I believe, you'll bring visitors to a monthly meeting, and you'll tell them just show up whenever you want to show up to a weekly meeting.
Sure. You know what? There's some logic to that. Well, you've seen it. You've seen it in action.
In firsthand,
Well, and I think the table of 5 or 6 or however many were at my table last week, that worked really well. I certainly felt like I was able to better build a connection with the people.
And they were all very
in that
impressed
small
with
group.
You. They were impressed with you, Traci. You showed up. You gave them a piece of your mind. Well,
in a good way.
In a very good way. No, never in a bad way. But that's part of what we love about you too in our chambers, that you're easy to talk to and you have something to say.
Well, thank you.
So yeah, so our members were really impressed and all. But I want them to be impressed to the point where if they want to sell their home, they talk to you.
Well, I loved seeing Olga there. I was able to help Olga's father earlier this year sell his home.
She mentioned that today again.
She did. Oh, I love them. They're just fantastic.
After a little
they
while,
were so great to work with.
I started telling the people today, okay, guys, Traci Fowler is in here because we were talking about testimonials and who they've worked with and who they enjoyed working with. Sort of a building culture type exercise. And Angela Schimmel said this huge thing about you. Like I was telling you earlier, Schimmel's cried about how meaningful it was that you recommended her to your brokerage, things like that. And then Olga follows suit with her own story about you. Like, okay, guys, Traci's not here. What are you burning these? This is political capital you're burning here. Just leave it for next time.
Oh, that's right.
So they spoke very highly of you, Traci. So
well,
thank you.
I mean, Angela was easy to refer. Her company, Image 360, really helped me when I was 100% responsible for all of my marketing dollars and marketing efforts and getting the most bang for my buck. They were so easy to work with. So it was just a no-brainer to refer her to the other professionals that I know. And I'm just fortunate to work with a great brokerage who was very open to my suggestion, and she gets to meet with our marketing department.
Wow.
So
yeah, she's very happy. But that's the name of the game, though. See, and that's what we were telling our members today, too, is that, okay, right now, a lot of people are saying, well, I got this business and, I was able to do business with Mary and she bought these things for me. And like the chef says, Cape Cod Cafe, David Martin is the chef, says, if you don't come to my restaurant and consume my food and become one of my patrons, how do you expect me to give you my my $1,000 energy bill or to refer you, your insurance company to all my employees?
Oh, sure.
I mean, how do you want all that business from me, but you don't want to come and eat in my place?
Absolutely.
He goes, if you don't come to my restaurant, you're dead to me.
Oh, ouch.
The chef doesn't care. I told you he's from that part of the world, where they just say what's on their mind. Like, chef, very well put. Because it's the same thing. We all have expectations, and we all want to give. But at the same time, we have to understand business is business, and obviously you want to have a competitive, product and a well priced and all these things. But if you're competing on the right playing field, there should be no reason why the reciprocity shouldn't be there.
Sure.
And in your environment, for example, as a realtor, because you can sell and buy and do your thing pretty much anywhere in the greater Houston area, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason why people shouldn't reciprocate every time they see you.
Well, sure. And I think we'll have an opportunity to talk about, those are competitive markets and, what sets
when we come back
our members apart.
We're here with Traci Fowler, real estate extraordinaire with Heritage Real Estate Group. Is that what it's called?
Heritage Texas Properties.
Heritage Texas Properties. So please stay with us. Traci's going to give us some advice when we come back. And we'll be right back.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show. With monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776.
The Hispanic Chamber Connection is sponsored by the Amel Insurance Agency, located at 719 Sawdust Road, Suite 103, The Woodlands, Texas. The Amel Agency is a family-owned insurance agency that provides home, life, automobile, and umbrella insurance coverage. Since 2006, the Amel Agency has been a bilingual insurance service for businesses and private citizens in the Montgomery County area. For more information on the Amel Insurance Agency, please visit the Hispanic Chamber Connection at www.irlonestar.com/HCC. The Amel Insurance Agency is available by telephone at 832-525-5656 or online www.amelagency.com. The Amel Insurance Agency is a sponsor of this program, and the Hispanic Chamber Connection thanks you.
We're back. This is Dr. Carlos Sanchez, the Hispanic Chamber Connection radio show, a program for members of the Texas Gulf Coast Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Obviously, you don't need to be Hispanic to join our organization. And we're sponsored by the Amel Agency. The Amels right now may or may not be listening to us because I know they're in Galveston. And
having fun, I hope.
They're having fun, and they've sent their love. So we send it right back to them. We're here with Traci Fowler. Traci Fowler is with Heritage Properties.
Texas Properties.
Heritage Texas Properties. And, of course, it's a big real estate firm that sells all over Texas.
Yes.
And where Traci, of course, is licensed to do her job as well. So she's all over.
Correct.
But a big something you put on Facebook the other day I thought was really interesting.
What was that?
That you judge women by their eyebrows.
Oh, stop.
And then you put in...
That was one of my non-business related posts.
but say, what's the punchline to that, though? You said, I judge women. No, I've come...
I said that you can tell a lot about a woman by observing her eyebrows.
And then the hashtag was what?
Hashtag mine are all over the place.
That was the point.
That is the point.
I think that was very
funny. That can be interpreted many ways.
Well, when I read that, I said, Traci has a lot of self-awareness. This is very good. So she knows that her eyebrows are everywhere. And anyway, so guys, when you're talking to Traci, she's really easy to talk to. And I think that really matters when you're making one of the most important decisions of your life, to buy or sell a home. So there are a couple of things that we wanted to ask you, Traci, since you're on top of the market and everything else. Post-Harvey, tell us a little bit about what's going on now in the marketplace and what would be a good update, especially after Harvey, with all these flooding homes and all these things that have been going on.
Sure. Well, first of all, we... sorry, my phone. That's very distracting. So many people in Houston obviously were affected by Harvey from just getting a couple of inches in their home. I helped sell a house in Cypress a couple of months ago, a gentleman who had flooded during Harvey, and helped another gal who had actually lost her house to Harvey. She built it 54 years ago with her husband, and it was really the family meeting place, and we helped her find a new home. And so obviously there were many people who suffered greatly, and those that can't be replaced. So starting over has been a real thing for a lot of people. But for those of you who didn't lose your home or have been able to rebuild or maybe didn't flood at all, been a lot of questions. How does that affect my home value? I didn't flood at all. Is my house worth more?
Yeah.
Or I flooded a little bit. Is my house worth less? And I have had the benefit of hearing Dr. Gaines from the Texas A&M. He's a doctorate of economics and has had his hand in real estate all over Texas for many years. And now he runs that program up at Texas A&M. And heard him in a market update kind of talking about what to expect. This was back in January, just a few months after Harvey. And he said he did not think that homes that hadn't flooded were necessarily going to see a great jump in value, but their houses would probably sell quicker. And I can tell you that that's what I've seen. If your house didn't flood, you're automatically more desirable. So your house is going to kind of get bumped up to the top of the list. And houses that did flood, less desirable, but it didn't tank prices. So houses that did flood are still selling as long as they were properly remediated and, they're well presented. And then obviously there are still people rebuilding and
well, I have friends that are still doing that, but okay. So nothing really happened. I mean, I think common sense is what prevails here. If my home did not flood, obviously I can say that to the realtor, look, this home is flood-proof almost because this is a 100-year flood, whatever. If my neighbor's home flooded, it should be less valuable. As a buyer, I would certainly pay less for a home that flooded. Well, I would expect it that way. Well,
and I have seen that also, but it hasn't tanked values. Values aren't tanking. Sure. For instance, one neighborhood where a house flooded, the average price was about $175, and houses that flooded were getting about $165, $160, $165. So it didn't completely wreck their value. But yeah, it did have an impact. And it took a couple of weeks longer to sell, too, quite frankly.
Yeah, that's so patience, ladies and gentlemen.
A little more caution. People, I think, are a little more cautious.
There is a question we have from our audience. They text me now. Oh, yeah, here's the question.
Let's hear it.
They saw your video. Traci is a very video prolific individual, and we love that about her. No. I was telling the group today at our meeting, at our Chamber of Commerce meeting, it's valuable to be on video and let people know a little bit more about you, about your personality, things like that. But you posted a video recently of you putting boxes into a boat. You were in a garage. Tell us about that video, please.
All right. So we actually, my husband and I bought a house that has flooded before. We bought down in the Greater Heights area. And in 2016, but not during Harvey, the garage got a little bit of water. And our house is up on stilts. And so some water had gone underneath the house. And the previous owners could demonstrate that they had all the debris that had washed up under the house, brought back out, and they could demonstrate that the pilings had been inspected and were fine, and they could show us receipts where they replaced the drywall in the garage, and we were satisfied with that, especially since it hadn't flooded during Harvey. We were quite pleased. But there is a drainage ditch out front, and we just had that big deluge on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
And my husband and I stood out in our garage and just watched the water come into the garage. And we're like, I had just bought him a boat for Father's Day. And we're like, I guess we get to use the boat today, but not in the way we thought. So we're like stacking boxes up in his boat. And I just thought it was a funny post about.
But your house didn't flood.
About being a Houstonian.
And that's a big question, too, is that I just can't believe that we know these problems exist.
Yes.
We have the trillions of dollars in capabilities and the Army Corps of Engineers. And every time it rains like the way it did the 4th of July, it's a terrible mess. And you would think that somebody would run on that platform to get elected onto the city council or something. Right. It's such a mess. And it's always also a big mess just to some of these highways that regardless of what's going on, they get trafficked out. And then like near the Galleria, always the same. Yes. Anywho, let's get off that horse, Traci. We're complaining now. Come on, come back, come this way. So tell us then. All right. So let's suppose my home didn't flood, but I'm getting ready to sell it in my mind, right? Because sellers I guess sell before they call you guys. what would be some good things for me to do before I put the home on the market, or before I call a real estate person to come and take a look at it? What would be some important
Well,
things?
I mean, whether your house flooded or not, the process of positioning your house to be the most attractive to buyers is the same. You're going to want to carefully, we're going to want to meet with a realtor and sit down and talk about kind of what's going on in the neighborhood. Talk a lot about what your expectations are, so that you're both on the same page. And one of the things I like to do also is I bring in a professional photographer, and we make sure that even before photography comes out, your house is best positioned. So maybe you've got a red wall that looked great 14 years ago when you bought your house.
Very cool.
That's very taste specific.
It has my KISS posters on it.
Right. That's pretty taste specific. Not everybody has red decor in their dining room.
Or likes KISS.
And, we bought our house 5 years ago that we just sold in spring. And I am a big fan of faux painting. So I had I thought,
very nice
faux painting throughout my house. And we went ahead and neutralized that before we sold, because it just wasn't everybody's cup of tea, it turns out.
And was that to somebody's suggestion, or did you just kind of say, I need to do this?
Well, we listed it for a couple of weeks, and we got a couple of a little bit of feedback that said, hey, there are a lot of colors on the walls. And we thought, yeah, but it looks good.
Oh, Traci,
but it didn't matter what we thought.
What about people that have a lot of deities in their home? A lot of crosses and things like that. Is that something that you recommend be removed?
Well, you know what? I don't recommend removing that necessarily. But if you've got 50 on one wall, maybe bring it down to 2 or 3. Okay. I mean, I think it's not a problem for people to see the personality of the person that owned it beforehand. But you want them to be able to picture their things on the wall. And if you've got too much in your home, in your room or in your home. So we do a lot of, I help my clients declutter. I'll have boxes drop shipped to their home to kind of help them with that process.
Okay.
Arrange for a moving company to come out if they need that kind of assistance. So we're just really making your house look as pretty as possible. It's like going on a date. We just make the house look as pretty as possible.
What about the carpet? What about stinky carpets? We have a guy in our chamber who that's his thing, is that he'll change your carpet or he'll change your flooring. Because have you run into that problem? I mean, that people don't smell their own dog in their own home?
I have, of course, run into that. And I have the fantastic good fortune of working with a couple of stagers who can come in and kind of, in some of those more difficult situations, kind of help people find solutions for kind of bigger ticket items like that. For the most part, a good shampoo gets most people's issues out. Nobody wants to live.
And the walls, too. I mean, I don't know. I
mean, a coat of paint doesn't hurt either.
Because we have a friend who has cats, and you can tell he has cats. He can't, but you can. Anyway, we're talking to Traci Fowler. Traci Fowler is with Heritage Texas Homes.
Heritage Texas Properties. You're going to get it before the end of the hour.
Heritage Texas Properties. I should have memorized that. Anywho, Traci's talking to us about different things you can do before you sell your home, before you call her, and also about the local market. When we come back, we're going to have more questions answered by Traci, and we're really excited about that. So we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Hey guys, this is Connor.
This is Dick.
This is Chris. And we're with the Ticket Stub Podcast every Thursday live at noon on 104.5 and 106.1 FM in the Conroe area. Also, anytime at irlonestar.com. You go to irlonestar.com/TTS. You can find all of our social media.
And don't forget, we give away 2 tickets to the Grand Theater on every show.
If you like movies and you like complaining or celebrating anything that has to do with the silver screen, check out the Ticket Stub Podcast and join us every Thursday at noon o'clock on Lone Star Community Radio.
Our talk shows and music shows are looking for sponsors. Want to expand your brand awareness? Reach the hyperlocal audience in Montgomery County? Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776 with your questions. Get seen on TV, YouTube, and heard on our podcast, FM, and internet radio. Support your local radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
The The Hispanic Chamber Connection is sponsored by EML Insurance Agency, located at 719 Sawdust Road, Suite 103, The Woodlands, Texas. EML Agency is a family-owned insurance agency that provides home, life, automobile, and umbrella insurance coverage. Since 2006, the EML Agency has been a bilingual insurance service for businesses and private citizens in the Montgomery County area. For more information on the EML Insurance Agency, please visit the Hispanic Chamber Connection at www.irlonestar.com/HCC. The EML Insurance Agency is available by telephone at 832-525-5656 or online www.emelagency.com. The EML Insurance Agency is a sponsor of this program, and the Hispanic Chamber Connection thanks you.
We're back. We are back. This is Dr. Carlos Sanchez with the Hispanic Chamber Connection radio show. And if you can't hear us, I just got a text with someone that just said, I can't hear you. All right, so we're going to raise the volume and say irlonestar.com is one way. 106.1 FM, 104.5 FM are two other ways. Is this streaming on Facebook or anywhere? It is streaming on Facebook. Lone Star Community Radio website. So
Facebook page.
I'm going to have to, I'm not sure which one that is, but this person needs to know which one it is so that I can send it to her before we're off the air. Okay. Bottom line is some people don't believe me that we're on the radio. You know, it's really funny. My mom knows that I do this program.
Uh-huh.
And so one day, moms are moms, right?
Mm-hmm.
So first, I think she already got over the fact that I'm not a medical doctor. Because every time she sees me, like, Carlos, my stomach hurts. What do I take? Like, Mom, I don't know. I'm not that kind of doctor. What? Why did you go to school for so long? Oh, okay. Now, recently, she's been asking me to fix her radio.
Oh,
and like, what do you mean?
okay.
She goes, well, you work in the radio, don't you? Like, Mom.
Oh, that's precious. That is precious.
So they're like, come on, Mom, get with the program. So anyway, I think it's very cool and very interesting how people, their concept of things, you know, it just depends on impressions, like you said.
Sure.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please hear this very carefully and to the point. You do not need to change your carpeting or paint your walls to sell your home.
Not necessarily. It just depends.
Go ahead.
So we'll all, you know, when I sit down with a family who's getting ready to sell their home, I go room by room, talk to them about their concerns, point out a couple of things that would help us present that room the best. You just want buyers to be able to imagine their things in that room.
Sure.
And if you have too much furniture or too many cute little Hummel figurines or whatever you collect sitting around, it is hard for people to imagine their items.
What about?
So we spend a little bit of time, you know, room by room, figuring out what needs. I leave them with a checklist. And
Okay. So if I've drawn like a big giant mural in my game room, maybe I should get rid of like the Sonics playing the Bears or something.
Well, it's funny. I was in a house that the buyers ended up buying it, and the previous homeowner had been quite a graphic artist and had like teenage boys.
Oh.
And so both of the rooms had big murals of superheroes in it. Now, my husband would love that, right?
Oh, I thought you said that. Yeah.
But the buyers, the people I knew who were later selling it, they weren't as big a fans of the big, scary superheroes on the wall because they had littler kids who were freaked out by that.
Of course.
So they were able to just, you know,
In a few
envision
years.
their family living in that home. I think it had to do with the beautiful pool and grotto in the backyard. And they just painted the wall themselves. But not all buyers can visualize that. So we just want to put our best foot forward as much as possible.
So for our listening audience, Tracy, would you mind telling us your name and just basically your commercial?
Absolutely. Well, I'm Traci Jo Fowler. I'm a realtor in Houston, Texas with Heritage Texas Properties. And I serve clients all over the Houston area. I'm licensed in the entire state of Texas, and I'm affiliated with Leading RE, which is a company. Actually, it's an affiliation all over the world. So if you're moving into 172 countries all over the world and you're not sure where to start looking for a place to live, you can give me a call and I can get you connected with the best realtor in any city or country in the world, really. But I personally serve buyers and sellers of residential property in the Houston area.
How do people get a hold of you, Tracy?
There are a couple of ways to get a hold of me. The best way is always by phone, 832-540-6767. And I've got a website. It's TraciJoFowler.heritagetexas.com. That's it.
That's all. Okay. So your name is actually Traci Jo.
That's correct.
Tell us about that. What do you mean Traci Jo?
Well, Tracy's not the most common name, but it just so happens that at my new brokerage, there is another Tracy there. And I thought, well, just so people don't get us confused, I'll go ahead and throw my middle name in there.
Okay.
So Traci Jo.
And it's spelled J-O. That's it.
Just J-O.
Okay.
It's not short for anything.
Okay. Well, I think it's an interesting name either way.
Well, and funny, I was born up north, so I'm not a Southern girl, but I have such a Southern sounding name, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're on live radio, and usually when you're in live radio, you're not supposed to be drinking or eating or doing anything like that. But anyway. So Tracy, so we're talking a little bit about right now. It is encouraging then right now if someone has a home in the city of Houston that they would like to sell. It's a pretty good market right now.
It's a wonderful market. In fact, in preparation for coming on the radio today, I wanted to make sure that my perception of what I've been observing is accurate. And according to that Texas A&M database, shows all the real estate activity in every market in Texas. I drilled down into all the neighborhoods that I typically serve, and every single neighborhood, every single month this year, there have been more sales, higher dollar volume, higher price, and more numbers of homes sold this month, this year, than the same month last year.
Wow.
So we're still in an expanding real estate market.
And so are there a lot of homes available in the areas inside the loop? I mean, is that a pretty big area? It's a big area, obviously.
It is. There are several different kind of markets just inside the loop themselves.
Now, when you say loop, are you talking
the loop
610?
Why, yes, I am.
Or
and if you lived down in the city, Carlos, you would know that. You're getting ready to move down into the city. I'll educate you when you get down there.
At some point, I am going to move back to the city, just because I think that, it's a very active, energetic-wise. It's more. There's a lot more going on down there.
There is. It's a whole different world. It really is.
Not that we don't love the Woodlands and Conroe. We're overlooking downtown Conroe right here. This is Main Street. But, they're just different parts of
well, and I obviously love it up here. I'm up here so much.
Well, you used to live up here. Like you used to live in Spring,
I still
right?
play up here. I love to come up here.
So how often are you up here?
Probably weekly, if not for something related to business or to visit clients and work that end of things. We love the lake. In fact, we have an RV and a boat, and we're coming up to Lake Conroe this weekend to have some fun as a family.
Very good. So here's another question then for you, Tracy. All right. So let's assume that I've been thinking about buying something, and I'd like near the Galleria area. There are different neighborhoods that surround the Galleria.
There are.
Is that kind of what that is? Because I really don't know what they are. I just know that when I'm driving, I guess into the area from on 8.
Beltway 8,
from Beltway 8 on Westheimer.
Yes.
I see different.
Oh, sure. It's just like up here in this area. I mean, you think you live in Spring now, right? And you drive down the street, there's going to be several different neighborhoods that you pass. It's no different down in the Galleria.
Okay.
Don't ask me to list them all. There are lots of them.
Okay. So right now, do you have a good listing that you'd like to mention on the air that maybe somebody would be
Absolutely.
to?
Actually, I have a new listing coming up. It's in the Woodlands, and it is in Alden Bridge. It's an adorable house on a corner lot. She's got 3 bedrooms. Well, 2 bedrooms and a study, but the study has a closet, so you could use it as a bedroom if you like. 2.5 full baths. And again, it's a corner lot, Alden Bridge. And she's going to list in the low 200s. So if you wanted to get your kids into those great woodland schools, this would be a great house to see.
Wow. Okay. And so that's another big deal, is so many real estate agents out there. How long have you been doing this now?
I'm in my 3rd year.
Okay. Because so many, I don't know what percentage it is, but it's a huge percentage of real estate professionals don't renew their license after 1 year.
Okay.
They just don't.
It's probably true. It's very competitive. And it can it can be tough, but there's 40,000 licensed realtors in Houston, and I think last I checked, that's the largest number of realtors in one MLS in
Really?
the nation. Don't quote me on that because there are bigger cities,
Yeah,
but I think Houston has the largest number of
Houston is
realtors per
number
capita.
3 in terms of size, isn't it? New York,
Four,
Los
number
Angeles,
4.
El Paso.
El
Who's number 3?
Um,
That was Texas.
maybe Chicago?
I know it's New York, Los Angeles, and then it's got to be Houston.
I think it's Chicago. No, we're number 4. I know we're number 4.
Okay, so it's either Chicago or Milwaukee or something. Who knows? The bottom line then is, okay, so you've been doing this 3
Not
years.
El Paso.
But this, El Paso is, I think, the biggest one in Texas.
Really? Okay.
It's Houston, El Paso, and then
All right.
like Dallas, Fort Worth.
I'll have to take your word for it.
None of that really matters because right now what we're talking about is some other things, Tracy. Like, for example, I know that you've been really prolific on video and doing stuff like that. So and a friend of ours who mentioned you today said how quickly you were able to sell her home, her uncle's home or her grandfather's home.
It was her father-in-law's home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how did you do that? What were some of your techniques that you're using that are more effective than most? I mean, because that's really huge to sell a home in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful, you know?
Well, okay. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. We always pay attention to just kind of, there's the golden rule. You get ready for that first date. You make that house look gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was very fortunate that her father, he already had a house that was showroom ready. We really didn't have to do much. He's a retired civil engineer.
Wow.
And he works at Home Depot, or at the time worked at Home Depot. But his house is one of those houses that flooded. It flooded twice. It flooded in 2016 and it flooded again during Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
And, by legally, you have to disclose that.
Yeah.
So it was very clearly disclosed on the seller's disclosure. It wasn't something that we hid, but it wasn't immediately evident when you walk in because he had done such a great job remediating the home and rebuilding it. And, he was uniquely, it was the best flood house. I thought I would say when realtors would call me, I'm like, you can't buy a better house that had flooded.
So he didn't paint
Civil
over the
engineer. No, he didn't just paint over the mold. He did it right. Civil engineer, now works at Home Depot. And it was just a pleasure helping him because, quite frankly, he was so agreeable and so easy to work with. But I think, number one, he presented his home well. Number two, even though it was a flood home, that we didn't let that I never went into any negotiation as if that was an issue.
Very good.
We had a beautiful home in a great school district, priced right.
You're listening to Traci Fowler. This is the Hispanic Chamber Connection radio show. When we come back, we'll listen more to Traci Fowler, more of her advice and more of her stories. So please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show. With monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture. The Hispanic Chamber Connection is sponsored by the Amel Insurance Agency, located at 719 Sawdust Road, Suite 103, The Woodlands, Texas. The Amel Agency is a family-owned insurance agency that provides home, life, automobile, and umbrella insurance coverage. Since 2006, the Amel Agency has been a bilingual insurance service for businesses and private citizens in the Montgomery County area. For more information on the Amel Insurance Agency, please visit the Hispanic Chamber Connection at www.irlonestar.com/HCC. The Amel Insurance Agency is available by telephone at 832-525-5656 or online www.amelagency.com. The Amel Insurance Agency is a sponsor of this program, and the Hispanic Chamber Connection thanks you.
We're back. We are back. This is Carlos Sanchez with the Hispanic Chamber Connection radio show. Well, where we bring you, see, now my tongue is numb because I've been eating this Frosty or drinking this thing. Never mind, ladies and gentlemen. We have someone here that's eloquent. She can talk. She's been giving us a lot of advice and telling us some great stories. We're here with Traci Fowler with Heritage Texas Properties.
Oh, you did it. I'm so
I
happy
knew I would
for
remember
you.
at some point. Anyway, Heritage Texas Properties is a real estate brokerage where they have access to hundreds, if not thousands, of listings and homes.
Absolutely.
And she was just talking about a beautiful home here in the Alden Bridge area in the Woodlands with 3 bedrooms and 3.5 baths. And one of the bedrooms is convertible to a closet or something. No?
A study.
A study with a closet. There could
With
be
a
a bedroom.
closet, yes.
The biggest benefit there, of course, is Alden Bridge is a beautiful part of the Woodlands where you have access to all the schools and all the amenities of the Woodlands.
Yes.
And they're listing the home in the low 200s, which is also a big deal.
Absolutely.
In the Woodlands, you can't
It's
really find,
amazing to get a house in that location for that price.
and it doesn't flood probably.
No,
does it? No,
it
the
did
Woodlands-
not flood.
Okay, and then yes, because homes like that in that part of the Woodlands can't be that inexpensive. There's got to be, they probably want to sell, and it's really fairly priced. That's good. You can sell that home,
Yes.
and I'm sure a young couple, a young family can move in there and make that their home for a good long time. So we're here with Traci Fowler. Traci Fowler has some interesting background. She's been doing real estate now as a professional, a very successful professional, I should say, for about 3 years, but she's got more to her than the average bear. A couple of things that I remember about Traci I think that are meaningful. One of them is that she is a former, is that Navy?
Air Force.
Sorry, don't mean to offend. She's former Air Force, and she was stationed somewhere in California.
That's correct.
Tell us about that, Traci.
Well, I was really fortunate to have kind of gotten the bug, I guess, in high school to join the military. And not so much because I was an 18-year-old patriot, but mostly because I needed college money. And there was this little thing called the GI Bill.
Sure.
So I picked the branch of the military that didn't make me cut my hair and had the shortest boot camp. That's where my head was at. And I ended up in the Air Force and was really fortunate to get to be a weather observer on a tactical air command base in Southern California with F4s. And, I think I probably hated every minute of it when I was in, but I have great memories and have built lifelong friendships and get together with some of the women I served with.
You basically monitored the air
Veterans
weather
Day.
balloons. Oh, it's blowing that way today, and then you just report that.
Well, we did actually do balloons, the weather balloons up at Barstow. But when I was in, they had a real separation between what women were allowed to do and what men were allowed to do. And believe it or not, they wouldn't let the women go up to Barstow because Barstow was a male-only base.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So it was probably for our own safety that
Yeah,
they
I
didn't
can
send us
imagine.
up there. But I did get to do some pretty cool exercises. I went on something called Operation Volant Lightning in Florida and was in Destin for a week. This was back when the Russians were the enemy. And we pretended the Russians were invading from Cuba. Tells you how old I am. And so we just had an exercise out and doing weather observations under those kinds of conditions. And my commander, he was then Major Rand. I think he retired, Lieutenant Colonel. He recommended me for what they called an incentive flight. So I got to ride in a F4. I got to be Goose in an F4. I wasn't Maverick. I got to be Goose. And that picture that some people have commented on that I posted on Facebook a year ago, they're like, "Oh my gosh, were you a pilot?" I was like, "No, that was the day I got to pretend to be a pilot."
You could say you were, and nobody would know the difference.
That's right. Nobody would know.
So, Traci, you've been doing real estate for 3 years. Obviously, you were doing some other things before. Tell us a little about your background before you did real estate. What else did you do? What got you into this to begin with?
Well, my husband and I moved to Houston from Alaska in 2012. And I originally was going to get my license when we lived in Alaska. I had been working as an executive assistant and project assistant for a large oil and gas company. And I really always had a passion for real estate, had also been a lender prior to that. And, took the classes, was getting ready to take the test, and things got weird in the financial market and in the real estate market. This was 2008.
Oh, yeah.
And I just decided to put that on ice for a little while. And when we moved to Houston, I worked with international expats that were relocating to the United States for the first time, and got to really be the first neighbor to a lot of people from all over the world. I had a Norwegian family I helped, and a family from Portugal that I helped, and a family from Nigeria, and just families from all over the world. And I absolutely loved getting to be the first American neighbor of theirs to help them get settled in the United States. And I worked closely with realtors, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get my license and do this for real full time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And ever since then, that's been your thing.
That's been my thing.
So what do you think makes it so difficult in the marketplace for so many realtors? I mean, there's so many, obviously, there's what you said, 30, 40,000 of y'all out there. Why is this such a difficult career for so many people? What do you think it is?
Well, you work for yourself, really, even though we all have brokers that hold our licenses.
That drive you.
Right? But we really work for ourselves. And it's a whole different animal being an employee or being a small business owner.
Sure.
And you really own a small business when you get your real estate license. And there's a learning curve. And you realize sometimes that you're not a great employee when you're an employee of your own.
Yeah.
And I think every realtor has to get some systems and some systems in place, and really, I guess, self-discipline, because there's nobody forcing you to get out of bed at 6 to punch a clock at 8 and take lunch at noon and come home at 5. You've really got to design your life around your goals.
Sure.
And that can be challenging, and some people don't find their way. I think another thing is just really being aligned with the right broker. And I just feel incredibly fortunate that I'm with Rob and Mick at Heritage Texas Properties. So blessed. We have several offices between Hill Country, and I think we're all the way over to Beaumont, but don't quote me on that one.
Wow.
And hundreds of great professional realtors and just a great support system. So, I mean, it's highly competitive, and there's so much to learn, and you've got to really always be striving to be at the top of your game.
And that's a big deal. I think the bigger part is your mental sort of your capabilities or your mindset and the whole things that you do. Like, you're right. If you feel a nap coming on, at 3 p.m., going home and taking that nap or pushing through it, it's your decision. It's up to you.
Absolutely. And I think, sort of to the whole being at the top of your game, I think even if you are at the top of your game, I think the most successful realtors that I know never see themselves as being at the top of their game. There's always that next goal that they're working on.
Wow. Okay. So after you've done real estate, or you're doing real estate right now, if somebody wants to get a hold of you to talk to you just about about their home, how can they reach you? What number do they call?
Well, I'm available at 832-540-6767.
676. Is that your office?
That is my personal cell.
Go ahead.
832-540-6767. Or you can get a hold of me via email at tjfowler at heritagetexas.com.
heritagetexas.com. Well, that's long. Okay. No, it's not. It's just me. Okay. So, and a bigger question then is, who would you prefer called you? I mean, what kind of people do you want to work with now, that maybe there's somebody listening to us that need to call you now?
Right.
Who would that person be?
I think if you're considering buying or selling in the next year, doesn't have to be this summer, but in the next year. In fact, the sooner we sort of start having that conversation, the more successful the process is going to be for you. We can time it right. We can get you set up for success so that you're not spending a lot of time in that area of uncertainty and anxiety. So anytime between the end of summer and the end of next year.
Wow. Okay.
Thinking of buying or selling.
What if I'm renting?
If you're renting?
Well, for example, in my case, I'm going to rent something near downtown.
Sure.
Well, we talked about this.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I do also help people who are renting. And, there are a lot of agents that won't do that because obviously the difference between buying a $500,000 house and renting a $1,000 rental, the commission's quite a bit different. But I really I don't like to turn business away. If I can help you, I want to help you. And I really think it's about paying it forward. And if you take good care of people, they'll take good care of you. And that happens all the time. I'll help someone get into a rental property, and I'll get a call from them a couple months later. And next thing I know, I'm helping their brother or their sister or their mom or dad buy or sell a house.
And that's part of, because like we've talked about, I'm going to be renting near downtown, but then my idea is to rent downtown for about a year, and then do what I got to do whatever needs to be done with my credit and with my money and things like that.
Sure.
And then buy.
And a lot of people are in that situation. Yeah.
But the reason I want to move down there is that's the area where I want to live. I just want to test it out first. I want to see how obnoxious it is really to live there and get flooded, for instance, or not flooded, but just learn more about the area.
That's so smart. A lot of people do that.
Okay, so thank you for that, because now that you said I'm so smart, I think I've just chosen my real estate agent or professional. But you would start talking to me, even though I'm not going to make a move until December, really.
Yep.
That's 5 months away anyway.
Sure.
So anyway, so we're talking to Traci Fowler. Traci Fowler is with Heritage Texas Properties.
Very good.
A large real estate brokerage. Their offices are all over the place. If you are thinking about selling, if you're thinking about buying, please give Traci a buzz. Her number is 832-546-540.
Go
ahead. You can say it.
6767 540-6767.
Of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you can see me, you can notice I'm not wearing my glasses. Now I can see the number. Yes, it is 540. Thank you for that, Traci. So basically, your office then, it is downtown. I mean, that area. I'm
in Uptown Park, yes.
Which is near
610 and Post Oak.
Right? Where all the traffic gets crunchy.
Oh, it's a good time. It is. But I will meet you anywhere. I'll come to your home. I'll come to your nearest Starbucks, wherever.
And you've come all the way up here to Conroe. Yes. So we're very thankful for that, Traci. Thanks again for this time with you. We really appreciate your interview.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm sure we'll have you back again. You'll be the third time. You'll be the first one to come back 3 times.
Okay, good. Promise.
This is the Hispanic Chamber Connection radio show. You've been listening to Traci Fowler. Dr. Carlos Sanchez here. Wishing you a great week. We'll see you guys again next week. And we look forward to it. So have a good week and goodbye.
Thank you.
It's hard to draw the line between righteousness and reckless when you're 17. Struggling with a fear of God in a small town down in Texas.